Chapter 10. Rest is not love. Let us discuss what love believes it can survive, Volos said. Evara did not look away from Orren. That was the first work, not the first feeling. Feelings had become disorderly things. They rose when not called and arrived carrying other feelings by the throat. Relief at seeing him alive had come with anger. Anger had come with tenderness. Tenderness had come with fear. Fear had come with the memory of water and his back ahead of her, a pale shape in the storm that kept becoming smaller no matter how hard she kicked. So looking at him was work. His blood had fallen on the black floor and stayed there. That troubled her. The house took everything else quickly. Footprints disappeared. Doors sealed without seams. The air closed around words as if storing them. But Orren's blood remained in 2 dark drops beside the table, red-black in the blue firelight, thickening slowly. Living blood. Trespass. The record had called him. River marked Mother Killer, until Orren corrected it. No, not corrected. Complicated. That was different. Worse, perhaps. Orren's eyes were on her, wide and fever-bright, full of the kind of hope that asked to be fed before it asked whether she had bread. Evara's burned hand throbbed. She had thought she wanted him here. She had. She did. That did not make his arrival simple. Volos stood at the far side of the table, one long hand near the black glass record. The words written there had dimmed, but not vanished. They waited under the surface, like fish beneath winter ice. Orren lingered behind Orren. The road wing looked smaller in this room. Not less himself. More careful about where he placed the self he had brought. He kept glancing at the walls, the ceiling, the place where the balcony had been, as if counting ways out and finding them politely absent. Pell and Nim had retreated behind a column. Not very well. Pell's wing stuck out. Nim kept pulling it back. Evara drew a breath. What terms? Orren asked. His voice shook on the second word, though he tried to hide it. Volos looked at him. Not yet. Orren's hand tightened on the table. Evara saw the movement begin and finish. Saw blood crack at one knuckle, saw the throat working, as he swallowed pain and urgency and whatever the river had done to him. Not yet, Orren said. No, you asked if I would accept terms. I asked if you would accept them. I did not say you were prepared to hear them. Orren laughed once, raw and disbelieving. Prepared? Orren said, Orren, do not. The 2 words cut back over his shoulder without Orren turning. Orren closed his mouth. Evara hated that too. Hated that Orren had walked through all this, with a god beside him, and still sounded alone enough to bite any hand near him. Hated that Orren let him. Hated that Volos watched it, as if every wound in the room were a claw's finding its proper place. She put her good hand flat on the table. The black glass record cooled the air beneath her palm, though she was not touching it. Orren, she said. He looked at her at once. Too fast. The speed of it hurt. Sit, she said. He blinked. What? You are bleeding on his floor and standing because you think falling will weaken your argument. Sit. A strange sound came from Pell behind the column, quickly smothered by Nim. Orren's face changed. Pride first, then shame, then something almost like a smile, broken before it formed. I can stand. Yes, she said. I can see how badly. He looked at Volos, as if asking permission by refusing to ask. Volos lifted one hand. A chair appeared behind Orren. Plain black wood. No arms. No comfort except the fact of being a chair. Orren did not sit. Of course he did not. Evara looked at him until he did. It was not graceful. His knees trembled halfway down. One hand gripped the table. The other hovered near the wound at his arm and failed to be useful. When he settled, his shoulders dropped despite himself, and pain went through his face so clearly she had to look at the table for one breath. There, still Orren, still stubborn enough to make sitting look like defeat, still alive. Volos watched him sit, with no satisfaction Evara could see. That made the whole chamber more dangerous. "Good," Evara said. Orren looked up at her. She had not meant the word to soften. It did. His eyes shone with it. No, she could not be responsible for every breath in him. She turned to Volos, before Orren could make hope from the wrong thing. "Now say why not yet." Volos's gaze rested on her. "The living trespass cannot hear cleanly while the river works. What does that mean in words that do not belong to a ledger?" Orren made a faint sound. It might have been approval. Volos ignored him. "He drank from the river that carries names." "I understood that." "He has been clarified? That was the word you used. Not cleansed, not healed. Clarified." Volos looked at Orren. His doubt has not vanished. It has been filed behind the thing he most wants to preserve. Orren's face hardened. "Do not speak of me as if I am not here." "You are exactly here," Volos said. "That is the difficulty." Evara looked at Orren. He was angry, yes. Anyone could see that. But under anger was something stiller, a fixedness that had not been in him before. In Skeldrun, Orren's hope moved like flame, quick and expressive, leaning toward any air that fed it. Now his hope looked carved. The river had not made him love her. That would have been easier to hate. It had taken the love already there and sharpened it until it could cut through anything that stood near, including her, perhaps. "What did it file behind me?" she asked. Volos looked back to her. Orren whispered, "Evara." She did not look at him. Volos answered, "Uncertainty." The chamber seemed to cool around the word. Evara closed her hand on the table edge. "Can it be undone?" "No." Orren stood so fast, the chair struck the floor behind him. The sound cracked across the chamber. Hell yelped. Nim hissed. "Chair damage is not a strategic category." Orren barely heard them. "You will not use that to deny me." Volos did not move. Evara turned on Orren. "Pick up the chair." He stared at her. "What?" "Pick it up." "This is not. If you cannot hear me about a chair, you will not hear me about terms." His mouth opened. No answer came. Good. Let him feel that. The room waited. Even Volos seemed to wait with it. Orren bent slowly, pain stiffening his movements, and set the chair upright. His hands stayed on the back of it afterward. "I am hearing you," he said. "No," Evara said. "You are trying to hear me through the sound of getting me back." His face went pale. She had not meant to say it that plainly. No, she had. Plain things had kept her alive when pretty ones tried to carry her elsewhere. Orren lowered himself into the chair again, this time without being told. His eyes did not leave her. She turned back to Volos. "What happens before terms?" Volos said, "You decide whether you will speak with me without him." Orren went rigid. "No." The word left him before Volos had finished. Evara looked at him, his face flooded with the knowledge of what he had done. He swallowed. "I mean, I know what you mean," she said. He flinched. Good. Not because she wanted to hurt him. Because some hurts were signs that a person had touched truth before lying covered it again. Volos watched them both. Evara hated his stillness then. "You set that on purpose," she said to him. "Yes." Orren's head snapped toward the god. Volos did not look at him. A condition has no use if it does not reveal the break. "You are testing him." "I am observing what already acts." "That is what men say when they arrange the room." Volos's eyes rested on her a moment longer. "Yes," he said. She had no answer for that. He did not pretend innocence. That made fighting him difficult in a way she had not expected. Her father had lied even to himself. Orren sometimes did too. though his lies wore hope, and therefore thought themselves better dressed. Volos admitted the room was arranged, and waited for her to decide what to do inside it. She turned to Orren. "I need to speak with him." Orren's fingers dug into the chair back. "No." Her face hardened. His eyes shut. He forced the next word out. "Why? Better. Not enough, but better." "Because the terms are for me too," she said. "I know. No. You know I am named in them. That is not the same as knowing they are for me." Orren opened his eyes. He looked worse sitting than standing, perhaps because the chair made it harder for his pain to pretend it was purpose. His mouth had lost color. Blood had dried under his nose. He had bitten the inside of his cheek recently enough that fresh red showed when he spoke. "You think I would accept something that harms you. I think you would accept something that harms you and call it love if you believed it got me out." His face broke, only for a second. Then he looked down. Evara's anger faltered. She did not want to be cruel. She wanted a door that opened without requiring cruelty as the key. There were so few. She crossed around the table. Volos did not stop her. The house did not stop her. Orren looked up as she came nearer. Hope rose again, cautious and wounded. She stopped just outside arm's reach. His hands tightened on the chair. He did not reach. That mattered. She let it matter. "I need one conversation that is not pulled through your fear," she said. His eyes shone. He nodded once. The nod looked like it cost more than walking. "Will you come back?" he asked. The question entered her like cold water. There it was. Not the final question. Not the bargain. Only a room and a few steps away, and already the silence behind him had teeth. Evara closed her eyes. When she opened them, she answered carefully. "I'm in the same house. That is not what I asked." "No," she said. "It is the answer I can give without lying." His lips pressed together. She thought he might argue. He did not. She almost touched his shoulder. Almost. Her hand lifted before she meant it to. Orren saw. He stilled completely. That made the almost worse. Evara lowered her hand. "I will speak with him," she said. "Then I will speak with you." Orren looked at Volos, then at Orren, then back to her. "Alone?" he asked. Volos said, "Not alone. In my house." Evara's eyes cut to him. That was not comforting. It was not meant to be. Then why say it? To be exact. She looked back at Orren. "I will take Pell and Nim." Behind the column, Pell whispered, "Will you?" Nim whispered, "Apparently we are a virtue now." Volos looked toward them. Both creatures straightened badly. "Pell and Nim will attend," Volos said. Orren shifted. "And the first?" "No," Volos said. Orren's mouth tightened. That was quick. It was exact. "Everyone is developing a fondness for my better qualities today." Volos ignored him. Evara did not. She looked at Orren properly for the first time since Orren entered. He looked like a boy, in the way a knife looked harmless, if set down with the handle toward you. Travel-worn cloak, bare feet, bright eyes, blood at the corner of his mouth, though nearly gone. He had brought Orren here. He had spoken Malin's truth when the record forced it. He had corrected the record. He had also withheld until withholding became another wound. "Stay with him," she said. Orren's eyes moved to hers. For a moment, the boy mask did not smile. "I may not be the best person for that." "No," Evara said. "But you are the person standing there." A small breath left him. It might have been a laugh. It was not. "As the lady commands." "I don't." Orren bowed his head a fraction. "As the lady accurately observes." Orren said nothing. That worried her more than protest would have. She turned away before her body could betray her toward him. Volos moved first, not toward the main door, toward the blue fire. A passage opened behind the hearth. Of course it did. The fire folded aside without dimming, revealing a narrow doorway in the black stone. Blue light ran along its edges like veins under skin. Air moved from beyond it, cooler and quieter. Pell emerged from behind the column, pulling Nim by one sleeve. "Attending?" Pell announced. "Regrettably," Nim added. Volos entered the passage. Evara followed. Every step away from Orren tightened something between her shoulders. She could feel his gaze on her back. Not like a hand, not exactly. Like a held breath, like a song, waiting to begin, and trying not to. She did not look back. Not because she did not want to, because she did. The passage closed behind Pell and Nim. The sound it made was soft, final enough. Evara stood in a smaller room. No, not smaller, narrower. The ceiling was high, lost in blue shadow, but the room itself held few things. A hearth without flame. 2 chairs, facing each other, across a low table. Shelves along one wall, all closed. A basin cut into the floor. Dry. A single door at the far end, carved with the same leaf pattern as the empty chair in the larger chamber, though here the leaves were half buried under lines of black stone. Pell and Nim remained near the entrance. Volos took one chair. The other waited for her. Evara did not sit. Volos looked at the empty chair, then at her. "You may stand," he said. "I know." "Yes. Do you—" The question left her before she decided it was safe. Volos's eyes returned to her face. Pell inhaled sharply. Nim murmured, "We are in a smaller room, but not a safer one." Volos said, "I know you may stand." "That is not what I asked." "No." The old irritation warmed her enough to be useful. She stepped toward the chair and sat, not because he offered, because her legs shook. "I am sitting because I am tired," she said. "Not because you won." Volos inclined his head. "I did not say I won." "Do you think it?" "No." That answer unsettled her. She studied him. He sat with the same stillness as before, but the smaller room changed it. In the great chamber, his stillness had been part of the architecture. Here it looked almost like restraint. His hands rested on the chair arms, long fingers, no rings, no visible weapon. "No need for one." "Why not?" she asked. "Because nothing has concluded." "That sounds like a man waiting for the knife to finish cutting." "Yes." Her mouth tightened. Pell looked from Volos to Evara and back again, clearly deciding whether breathing was worth the risk. Nim had given up hiding his anxiety and was now arranging it into posture. Evara looked at the low table. No food. Good. She did not know whether she could bear another kindness shaped like bread. "What are the terms?" she asked. Volos said, "I have not set them." "Liar." Pell made a faint squeak. Nim whispered, "Accusation entered." Volos's expression did not change. "I have considered several." "That is what I said." "No. It is what you meant. You enjoy making people correct themselves. I value precision. You value owning the sentence." His eyes sharpened. "There, a mark? Small but present." Evara felt something in her unclench. Not triumph. Never triumph here. Proof that he could be touched. "Terms," she said. Volos leaned back by less than an inch. "He may leave alive." "Generous?" "No. At least you know. He entered alive. His death is not required." "Only because he is useful?" "Everything living is useful to something." "That is an ugly answer." "It is a true one." Evara looked at the dry basin in the floor. Its inner surface was smooth, worn by water that was not there now. "And me, you may follow." The word entered her body before her mind. Follow. She saw water. Orren. Ahead. The black distance between them, widening. Her burned hand tightened. "Do not use that word carelessly," she said. Volos watched her. "I did not," he said. That made it worse. Evara leaned forward. Say what it means. You may leave the last house by your own steps, behind Orren Keld, along a path opened by bargain. Behind him? Yes. Why? Because he came to retrieve. That answers his story, not mine. Volos did not speak. Ivara's pulse, or memory of one, beat in her throat. Behind her, Nim's fingers clicked softly against one another. Pell whispered, "Oh, I like that question," then seemed to realize he had spoken, and covered his own mouth. Volos looked toward the carved-leaf door at the far end of the room. "Not yours," he had said of the empty chair. Someone had left him, or returned elsewhere, or did both so often that the difference had become a law he hated. "Behind him," Volos said, "because if he walks behind you, he will carry you with his eyes." Evara went still. "If he walks beside you," Volos continued, "he will turn every step into persuasion. He will speak. He will sing if fear takes him. He will ask whether you are near until your answer becomes the rope he holds." The words struck too cleanly. Evara hated them, because part of her recognized their shape. Orren is not only that. No, he came here. Yes. He bled through your gate. Yes, he sang, without making me move. Volos's gaze returned to her. Did he? Ivara's throat tightened. The song in the chamber, Orren's voice broken and careful, the low beam, the field, the ship, the water, her own tears rising because he had finally sung the absence where he had not seen her. The question at the end, placed before her like bread. Do you want the door? She had been moved, but not commanded. Had she? The doubt itself angered her. He tried, she said. Volos nodded slightly. Yes, not mockery. Agreement. That was worse than if he had dismissed it. He tried, Volos said. That is why terms remain possible. Evara sat back. The chair held her. A good chair, a dangerous chair. Then what is the trap? Volos's mouth changed by almost nothing. You assume trap. I assume terms from you have teeth. Yes, there. Teeth are not traps. They are, if hidden. I hide little. Evara laughed once, quietly. Volos watched the sound. What? He asked. You sit in a house full of sealed drawers, closed doors, an empty chair you will not name, and a song that shakes the walls. You hide plenty. Pell whispered, She is going to be eaten. Nim whispered, By conversation, perhaps. Volos looked at Evara for a long moment. Then he said, Rest is not hiding. The line touched something. She did not want it to. I did not say rest, she replied. No, but you meant it. Yes. The room went very quiet. Evara looked at the leaf-carved door. The smell of spring rain was absent here, but she remembered it. The door breathing under her hand, the woman's laugh behind it. The name Nim had almost said, and then swallowed. Corey. Do not finish names you do not know in houses that remember them. She looked back at Volos. You offered me a chair. Yes. Food. Yes. A mantle. The house offered that. That is a door with another name. Volos did not deny it. You offered me nothing asked of me while I sit. Yes. Why? Because you are tired. No. The word came sharply. Volos's eyes remained on hers. Evara gripped the chair arms. No, that is true, but it is not why. My father knew I was tired. He knew exactly. He used it. Orren knows I am tired and wants to carry me before asking whether I want arms around me. You know I am tired and offer rest in a room where every door belongs to you. She leaned forward. Why? Volos said nothing. The silence stretched. It did not feel empty. It felt occupied by whatever he refused to place on the table. Then he said, Because rest reveals what fear disguises. Evara stared at him. That sounds clean, she said. Yes, I distrust clean things. As you should. Then dirty it. For the first time, Volos looked almost surprised. Only almost. Good. Evara kept going because stopping would let fear recover. You want me rested because a terrified woman will run toward the nearest hand. You want me rested enough to know whether I choose. Or you want to tell yourself that. You want law clean. You want bargains exact. You want no one able to say afterward that hunger or panic made the words. Volos's gaze did not move. And because if I choose rest, she said, quieter, then you did not take me. Pel went utterly still. Nim looked at Volos, and then away. The air cooled, not violently. Sorrow had entered the room, and taken the temperature down with it. Volos said, You think I need the distinction? Yes, I am Volos. I know. I can keep what comes to me. Then why do you bargain? The question sat between them. Volos's hand closed once on the chair arm. Once. A small movement. Large enough. Because law admits the bind, he said. Evara said nothing. Love does not, Volos continued. Love says stay and calls the command longing. Love says follow and calls the command hope. Love says I crossed death for you and waits for gratitude to become a chain. Law says chain. Evara's breath caught, not because he was right, because he was not entirely wrong. That was how he did it. Not lies, not sweet smoke, not a song that made the body lean. He said enough true things in a row that the road between them began looking straight. She thought of Orren, standing in the chamber, bleeding, saying he used his gift gently. Volos answering that gentleness was what made it cruel. She thought of her father saying home and meaning possession. She thought of herself saying duty, because daughter was harder. She thought of the chair beneath her, and how fiercely she wanted to remain in it for one more breath. Rest is not love, she said. Volos's eyes held hers. No. The word came from him like a door closing softly. At least you know that, she said. Yes. And still you offer it. Yes. Why? This time he did not look away. Because love without rest becomes hunger. Evara's mouth tightened. There was no winning against a man who knew how to put knives in bread. You speak as if you loved someone hungry, she said. The room changed. Pel went pale blue. Nim closed his eyes. Volos looked toward the carved leaf door. Not long. Long enough? Evara almost wished she had not said it. Almost. What happened to her? She asked. Volos's gaze returned to her. Not yours, he said. The chair? The answer. The words were quiet enough that she heard the grief under them. A grief guarded by law. A grief made into a room. Evara sat back. For a while, neither spoke. The house did not fill the silence. No drawers opened. No song passed through the walls. Pel and Nim made no little sounds. Even her burned hand settled into a dull ache. At last she said, If I follow him, what is forbidden? Volos answered at once. He must not look back until both of you have fully crossed into the living world. There it was. Evara felt the words before understanding. Not look back. The water opened in her chest. Orren ahead, not looking. Her voice lost to storm. Her body sinking. She stood so fast, the chair scraped behind her. Pel flinched. Nim's hand went to his mouth. Volos did not move. No, she said. That is the term. No, it is the term he must survive. She stared at him. You chose that because of the water. Yes, the answer was immediate. Bare, cruel. You chose the place he broke. Yes. Her hands curled. One burned. One good. Both useless against him. "That is not a bargain," she said. "That is a knife held where the scar is." "Yes." She almost struck him. The thought shocked her. Not because he did not deserve anger, because she knew it would change nothing, and because some part of her wanted the satisfaction anyway. Volos watched the impulse rise and pass. "You want him to fail," she said. "No, I do not believe you." "That does not alter it." "Then what do you want?" Volos stood. The room felt suddenly smaller. Hel and Nim both took one step back. Evara did not. Volos did not approach her. He only stood, and the room remembered whose house it was. "I want the term to test what he claims," he said. "He claims love." "No," Volos said. "He claims return." Evara's throat tightened. "He may love you," Volos said. "He may want you living. He may want your hand, your breath, your future, your forgiveness, and the proof that his road through death was not wasted." Each word landed separately. "He may want all these in love," Volos said. "But return requires one thing love often lacks." "What?" "Trust without witness." Evara looked away. The carved leaf door stood closed at the far end of the room. Trust without witness. It sounded almost fair. That was the horror. "What is my term?" she asked. Volos watched her. "You walk," he said, "by your own steps. And if I stop?" "Then you have stopped." "That is not an answer." "It is the answer." "What happens if I choose not to continue?" "You remain." "With you. In the last house." "That is another not answer." "It is a larger one." Evara looked back at him. "And if I pause?" Volos's expression did not change. "There, another mark. If you pause, you pause. And if he hears silence, then he hears silence. And if he is afraid?" "Fear does not void consequence." She closed her eyes. "Orren would be afraid." Of course he would. He had already been afraid in the chamber when she stepped away. Afraid when she did not answer at once. Afraid when she gave the true answer instead of the useful one. The river had filed his uncertainty behind wanting her back. Now Volos would put her behind him and make silence into the entire road. "You are arranging the room again," she said. "Yes." Her eyes opened. Volos stood by his chair, not triumphant, not apologetic, exact as a blade laid on a table. "Do you understand what this will do to him?" she asked. "Yes." "And you still call it terms?" "Yes." "Why?" "Because if he cannot walk without making your presence certain, he cannot return you freely." Evara had no answer. She hated him for that most. A locked room with a soft bed was still locked. A road out that required Orren to trust her unseen was still a road. Both things could be true. Volos was making cruelty out of truth, and truth out of cruelty, until she could not find clean ground under either foot. She looked toward the passage back. "Orren will accept." "Yes?" "You know that." "Yes." "Then why ask him at all?" Volos said. "Because acceptance spoken by a desperate man still binds." The sentence chilled her. There, the god beneath the chair, the Lord beneath the rest. The law admitting its bind, because the bind was the point. Evara stepped toward him. Hel squeaked. Nim whispered, "Do not step toward the Lord below while angry. That feels elementary." She ignored them. "You are not kind," she said. "No, you are not fair. No, you are not lying. No, that may be worse." Volos looked down at her. He was taller than she had registered. Or perhaps the room allowed height to matter now. "Yes," he said. Evara turned away. She needed to think. No. She needed to feel without being watched. No, she needed one breath. Just one. She moved toward the dry basin and stood over it, looking into its empty hollow. Her reflection did not appear in the polished stone. Perhaps because of the light. Perhaps because the dead had poor standing in mirrors down here. Perhaps because the basin knew better than to offer another answer. By her own steps. That was her term. No one carrying. No song pulling. No father ordering. No God seating. No lover turning her choice into the measure of his suffering. Walk. It sounded simple. Nothing in her life had ever been simple when a man called it that. Behind her, Volos said, "You may refuse." She laughed. The sound was small and ugly. "Refuse? Which? Cage?" Pell whispered, "Oh." Nim did not correct him. Volos said nothing. Evara looked into the dry basin. "If I stay," she said, "what happens? You remain in the last house. With food, if wanted. With a chair, if wanted. With doors that open only where the house permits. Yes. With you." A pause. "Yes." She nodded. "And if I go, you return to the living. Hungry? Likely. Cold? Often. With no house. Yes. With Orren, if the term holds. And if it does not?" Volos did not answer. She turned. "If it does not, then you remain. And he?" Volos's eyes went still. "His song becomes forfeit to the house." The room narrowed. Evara felt the words enter her burn, her throat, her drowned lungs. "No," she said. "That is the cost. No, do not spend the word where it has no purchase." She crossed the room before Pell or Nim could react. "You cannot take that." Volos looked at her. It was the first foolish sentence she had spoken to him. She knew it at once. He could. Of course he could. That was why it was a term. Orren's song. The thing that had fed him. Warmed rooms. Moved men from cliffs. Reached Tharos. Reached her. Hurt her, too. Because no gift that powerful stayed innocent by wanting to be his song. Forfeit. "He will not survive that," she said. Volos's answer came quiet. "Many survive losing what made them bearable to themselves." She stared at him. The leaf-carved door seemed to draw a breath. Evara understood then. Not fully, but enough. The empty chair, the closed door, the blue fire, the song beneath stone. Volos had survived something and called survival proof that the wound could become a structure. That did not make him wise. It made him dangerous. "He is not you," she said. Volos's eyes held hers. "No, I am not her." "No." The room changed again. Pell went motionless. Nim closed his eyes. Volos said nothing, but the silence around him had teeth now. Evara had struck something she did not know the name. "Good. Let there be marks on both sides. Do not make me fit an empty chair," she said. Volos's face became very still. "I have not." "Yet." The word stood. Volos looked toward the carved leaf door. For one breath, Evara thought the door would open. It did not. When he looked back, the ancient calm had returned, or a better imitation of it. "You should return to Orren Keld," he said. The dismissal should have angered her. It did. It also released her from the room before she could ask one question too many and lose more than she understood. She walked toward the entrance. Pell and Nim scrambled to follow, then halted when Volos spoke. "Evara Son." She stopped, but did not turn. "The term binds only if you accept your part." She looked over her shoulder. Volos stood near the two chairs and the dry basin, blue light cutting his face into planes of shadow and fire. "You may refuse to walk," he said. "Now or then." "Then why do I feel you have already counted on me not refusing?" "Because you love him." Her throat closed. No one had said it plainly in the last house. Not Orren, not her, not even the house, which recorded everything except what it could not fit. Volos said it without warmth, without mockery, without hope. A fact. She hated him for knowing. Yes, she said. Volos inclined his head. And because you are tired, he said. She looked at him. He did not smile. He did not need to. 2 truths. Both knives. He offered one to each hand. Evara turned away. The passage back opened before she touched it. Of course it did. Pell went first by accident, then pretended it was strategy. Nim followed, muttering about recordable emotional hazards. Evara paused at the threshold. Orren will ask what you said. Yes. What should I tell him? Volos's voice followed her, like cool smoke. What you can bear to make true. She stepped through before she could answer. The passage closed behind her. For 3 breaths, she stood in darkness between rooms. No Volos, no Orren, no Pell and Nim, though she could hear them whispering ahead. No chair under her, no hand on her sleeve, no song, only her. Evara pressed her good palm against the wall. It warmed, not opening, only there. She took 1 breath, then another. Then she walked back to the man who had come through death for her, carrying terms built from the shape of his wound.
Rain on the sill, salt in the flame. When the door goes quiet and the room lets go, lay the last word gently where the dark runs slow.
There is still a road under ash, under rain. There is still a voice trying not to break. Carry the song through the dark and the foam. Carry the name when the cold calls home. Leave one small light